This is how to do business with Beaufort County. We want to make it not so scary for the small guys. We want to let you know that we're pretty easy to work with. Here's just a little rundown. We're pleased to collaborate with a wide range of vendors. We want big, we want small. If there's a need for us, we want you, and if you're local, that's even better, because we want to put our money into our local vendors and keep them going. We're here to support our operation and the needs of the residents by using our vendors. When you're registering as a vendor, what you need to do, there's just a couple things, very simple process. You'll want to visit the procurement website, the webpage on the county website. You go to the BeaufortCountySC.gov. At the top, there's a little button that says offices, and you'll click that, go down to procurement services, and it'll take you in on the site. It'll say vendor registry, or you can take a look at our current bids and it'll prompt you to register in our system. Very easy to get to us. You can even just Google in Beaufort County, South Carolina. Once you do that, it's a good idea to email us and ask us to get a new vendor packet, because even though you're registered in our E-Procurement system, you're not registered in our financial system, which is pretty important because I'm going to assume you want paid for any work you do. So this is going to get you in our financial system and get you a vendor number. It's a very simple packet. It's your basic information, company information, W-9, and your electronic payment information. The reason we like the electronic payment information is we don't trust the U.S. mail. We have so many paper checks that are lost all the time. So it's also a lot faster because it invoices it is put in 1 week for payment. AP pays it that next week. Those funds automatically go into your account. So the procurement process, what you're going to see in our solicitations, we call them a solicitation. That encompasses request for proposal, request for qualification, invitation for bid. Jillian's going to go over them a little bit more. I'm going to give you a quick overview. Request for proposal. Basically, you're going to have to write us a proposal and tell us how you're going to accomplish the work that we want done. It's a little bit longer of a process. Invitation for bid, it's a flat out bid. You give us a price for what we're looking for. We give you the specs of what we want. And we want a price, so it's lowest, most responsive, and responsible bidder. It's a good idea if you're a growing company. If you plan on staying small, maybe not a good idea. But if you want to grow, and the bigger you get, and more business you do outside of even Beaufort County, maybe you go to Charleston and work with Charleston County. You may want to look into a cooperative, getting on a cooperative or a state contract. We can't help you with that, but it's something that we want to throw out there. And then we do have an on-call solicitation out there for goods and services under $100,000. What that does is that allows us to give you a contract with the county. It's a 3-year contract. And if there's a need, one of our departments will come to you guys and ask you guys for a quote. You give the quote, and if we find it fair and reasonable in price, and you can provide it in the time we need and things like that, then my department will issue a task order. And that's basically a mini contract that's under your main contract, and you're good to go. So there's no bid process involved with that. We've already bypassed it because the goods and services under $100,000. I recommend when you are looking at a solicitation, please read it through, because there are places in there that tells you what we're looking for as far as how to put together your document, especially in the request for proposal and the request for qualification. We have, a submittal, and it's like executive summary, things like that. So a couple of things to keep in mind when you're considering doing business with the county. You must be licensed in the state of South Carolina. So when you have a business, you do want to register your business with the Secretary of State. Okay. If you're awarded work with Beaufort County, this is a little tricky now. If The work that we are having you do is in actual unincorporated Beaufort County, like not Port Royal or not Bluffton. If it's like in unincorporated Beaufort County, then you're going to need a Beaufort County business license for that work. But if you do work and it happens to be like we just did a Spanish Moss Trail extension in Port Royal there to extend that trail, they had to go to Port Royal to get a business license. We're happy to walk you through that. If you have any questions and you're not sure, you go, hey, I have this opportunity. What do I need to do? You must be insured. We need you guys to be insured, have some insurance on your company. That's definitely a must for us because we will ask you for a certificate of insurance. Unless you're a company that's just going to ship us something, then you're going to need insured. So once you've identified the opportunity, you're going to review the solicitation, as I said. You're going to read it in full. If you have any questions, that's what we're here for, to answer those questions. There's also a Q&A that you can submit your questions in OpenGov as well, and Jillian will go over that with her present. So you'll want to prepare your proposal or your bid and ensure that what you are putting together complies with everything. And it's not big and scary. I have worked with federal entities. I used to help companies contract with federal, state, and local governments back in another life. We are nothing compared to the state or the federal, so we're not that complicated. You need to submit your proposal or your bid or your qualifications on time. Don't wait until the last minute because we have a lockbox in our system and we can't accept late bids. We can't even, if you're on the phone with OpenGov at 3:00 and they can't get it through, we still can't accept it. So make sure you start, plenty of time. We usually give 30 days for these things to be posted. So, the earlier you can get in, the better. Then after the follow-up, after your submission, you may be contacted for further clarification. We just actually had a bid that came through, some bidders, but we needed to contact that low bidder to get some clarification on their pricing. Expect for, us to possibly need to contact you. Contract award and performance. So what we're going to do is if you are the winning contract, vendor, you're going to hear from me or Jillian, and we're going to get started with the contract process. Depending on how much it is, the contract award is, it may have to go to committee and council for approval. That's anything 150 or higher, 150,000 or higher. It may need to go, takes a couple months. But if it's under 150, we can just run it through and the county administrator is able to approve it. And we can go ahead and get the contract signed pretty quick. Performance monitoring. The county monitors vendor performance to ensure we comply with the contract, the terms of the contract, and the scope of work that you are contracted to perform. We want to make sure that you do a good job for us because that's what we're looking for. Invoices and payments. Invoices should be submitted in accordance with the agreed terms. Basically, we give you a project manager, and that's who you submit your invoice to. So you'll work with the project manager on, your invoicing. Typically on bid situations, you're paid on percentage complete basis and you submit the invoice monthly for how much of a percentage. And payments are processed on a regular schedule. So if the invoice is submitted 1 week and the project manager gets it sent over to accounts payable, it's going to be paid that next week. So it'll hit your account EFT, and it'll hit it Thursday or Friday. Vendor expectation and requirements. Compliance with county policy. We expect you to comply with county policy. We have to. We need our vendors to as well. And this includes those things related to safety, to ethics. You want us to be ethical, we want you to be ethical as well. So, and sustainability. That's, a growing thing that's been growing over the past, 15 or so. We want you to offer high quality products and service. So, We want you to do the best job you can because we want you to look good as a business and we want to be a good reference for you. So if you do a good job for us, then we're going to be a good reference for you for other entities. Timely delivery. We understand things happen, but if there's a time limit and you say you can deliver, we expect you to deliver unless something really bad happens. And customer service and communication. Communication is key. A lot of times people lack communication. We would like to encourage communication. So I like to talk, as you can tell. So communicate with me and I'm happy to help you. So additional resources we have on our webpage. You can find that our procurement policy and procedure manual. It's pretty boring, but it gives you all the information you need as far as the rules we have to follow and, what we expect of you and what we're going to have you follow as well. Then here is our contact information and small business resources. So there are resources. I don't know if people know anymore because I don't normally hear the SBA, Small Business Administration. I don't hear a whole lot out of them anymore, but they're a resource and they are downtown Beaufort, believe it or not. SCDOT. They're, the DOT, if you're into an industry that would do work for South Carolina Department of Transportation, they have great programs out there. So I highly recommend you looking into them as well. But the Small Business Administration, they're a really great resource. And when I first moved down here to Beaufort, we bought a little hot dog restaurant on the island on Ladies Island. And we utilized the SBA a lot when we was here. So I can say that they are really great. So I suggest you get with them as well. So in conclusion, we are committed to working with a diverse group of vendors. We want big, small, we want all diversity groups. We like that. So go ahead and feel free to reach out to us. We're not going to put you off. I actually answer my phone. Jillian's going to get into the nuts and bolts of when you go in to our page and you get into OpenGov, how to, what you need to do to register in the system.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much, Victoria, for that awesome presentation today. As she mentioned, I'm Lillian Murray. I'm the senior buyer. So we're going to talk about OpenGov today. So with OpenGov, I do ask if you don't mind if you can put your questions till the end. So what is OpenGov? OpenGov is our e-procurement system that Beaufort County has implemented to manage solicitations, promote vendor participation, increase transparency and efficiency. This has replaced our old system, vendor registry. Many times, vendors might hear about opportunities such as SCIBO or the local news. So this is the most updated information in real time. We make updates all the time. This is also the only way that we will accept bids or proposals. So that's why it's so important to have this discussion tonight. So why we started using OpenGov? We started using OpenGov to reach more vendors with the use of OpenGov. How it works is there's almost like an algorithm. I'm not an IT person, but that's the best way I can explain it. It's kind of a network. This allows you to subscribe to specific categories based on the type of service or supply that you provide. And it can allow you to find other opportunities either with our agency or others that use OpenGov. And it is more transparent because you can see the status updates in real time, as I mentioned. But with that, as Victoria mentioned earlier, this is a lockbox type system and it protects the procurement integrity process. Like she said, we can't accept anything that's late, and that's both of our protections here. Our department also gains really valuable insights on who's interested in this project, who's already submitted bids, things of that nature. Vendors can also view who else might be interested in this project. For example, for a general contractor, maybe looking for a subcontractor. All right, sure, you're probably interested in the best. how to get started with using OpenGov. So you can get started 2 different ways. Of course, I can send you a link if you reach out to me personally or anybody on our procurement staff, or you can follow the Beaufort County's procurement site, as Victoria started to talk about earlier. So here's a screenshot, and this is our Beaufort County website, beaufortcountysc.gov. And what I had done here is at the top, there is a drop down for offices, which takes you, if you click on procurement, it takes you to the Procurement Services website. With the green arrow, that is where you can see our current solicitations, and that will redirect you to OpenGov, where you can see what we currently have out there. All right. And then to touch again on the different types of solicitations. So first we have an invitation for bid, or IFB for short. We're requesting the lowest responsive and responsible bid. Also, we have the request for proposal, or RFP. That's where we're requesting the most qualified proposal based on the evaluation criteria set forth in the solicitation. And lastly, we have the request for qualification, or RFQ, which is where you're requesting the most qualified firm. That's the key word there. Based on the evaluation criteria. That's typically something such as professional services. So other notes about this is invitation for bids are a lot shorter. A bid tabulation is created very shortly after the bid opening, once we do the responsibility and responsiveness check. RFPs and RFQs do have a longer timeline, and it makes it kind of difficult for us to estimate because there's an evaluation team. We have lots of reasons why that could take a little bit longer. It depends on how big the team is. And with that, we also could be pending committee and council approval. That goes for anything. With that, to segue into that, all solicitations must follow the dollar amount thresholds that are set forth by the Beaufort County Procurement Ordinance. So also we have how you can ask questions on an active solicitation. That's the Q&A that we mentioned earlier. So please be mindful that there is a deadline that will show on the solicitation if you were to print it, or the screenshot that I have that's really tiny up there does have the deadlines outlined. In my department, once you ask a question, it can assign the question either to somebody such as a project manager, or we can answer it ourselves. We do ask that if you could please consolidate any questions that you may have. We do get a lot of emails when we do this, which is wonderful. However, it can help us both out with condensing those so not everybody's getting an email every single time we answer the question. So this is what each status means on OpenGov. First, we have open, which means that it's publicly available for vendors to ask questions and submit responses. And the county can also issue addenda or notices. Pending means that the submission deadline has passed and it will stay pending until it's awarded or it's manually closed. Next, we have evaluation. That means that in the case of, say, an invitation for bid, a tabulation has been started, a request for proposal, or a request for qualification has begun. Then we have award pending. That means an award recommendation has been made. And then we have close, which means no further action will be made unless it is manually reopened. Next, we have how you can get some support. OpenGov is sometimes better equipped to handle some of these questions, especially if they're technical. We'll always do our best to help you out with that. But they can be reached anytime between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern time. And there's 3 different ways you can reach out to them. You can chat within the app, which is what that first photo is showing. I think it says OpenGov Assist. So you can chat with somebody there. And then you can also email them. It's support@opengov.com. Or you can give them a call, and I have that phone number listed there. We also have bonus support articles. That is really helpful, especially if you're getting started. That's what that screenshot is trying to show you there, and that's what I had collected your information for, was to send these presentations, but also to send you those videos, so you can look forward to seeing that. Some of the things it goes over is how to submit your bid, how to reach out to support, things like that. And once again, we can't stress this enough, but please don't wait until the last moment if you do have any questions or if you are trying to submit, because you never know when technology is going to mess up. I think we all experience that every day. So please don't wait until the last minute so you can get any help that you might need. So now is if you have any questions, and then we also have our information there. As I mentioned to some of you as you guys were coming in, I will be sending the information that you had checked yes or no to. So you'll have my information that way, and we also have Dave and Victoria's information if you didn't get it earlier. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Yes?
Is OpenGov updated monthly, or is it weekly, or based upon?
Sometimes hourly.
Yeah, anytime that there's an event. So if there was a bid that came in and the deadline has passed. We did the evaluation tabulation. It's usually the same day. Thank you for the question. Yes.
When I went in, and I think I was just trying to get signed up for RFPs.
Yeah.
It was asking for department codes.
Department codes. I think you might be thinking of the NIGP codes or commodity codes.
That might,
That-
but it was asking for something per department, but there was no listing of what those codes were.
Okay, so it didn't ask you, say I think you shared with me that you're from Young office?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you typed in furniture, did that return anything?
No.
Okay, that might be a question for support. So
Okay.
maybe I would shoot that through them and then maybe we can troubleshoot it from there.
And then one other question.
Of course.
As state of South Carolina
Mhm.
products, most of my products are state of South Carolina. Does that have any weight? Is that important at
Yeah,
all?
Victoria and Dave, please do chime in if I get any of this wrong, but you are a state contract vendor.
Right.
So that's a little bit separate from what we do. It still has to follow our procurement ordinance. So, for example, she threw out $150,000. That could be signed, or I'm sorry, that would have to go to committee or council for anything above that amount. So that changes some things. But if Victoria, if you would like to just go ahead and answer this question.
My question really is, there's established pricing for the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Is that the pricing I
Mhm.
use?
That's
Yeah.
correct. What it is, it's a
Thank you.
tool basically that vendors can use and that the county departments look at. Because I'll give you an example. We have all kinds of buildings that we will need furniture for at certain times. Yes. So what our departments do, depending on the threshold, whether it's under 50,000 or over 50,000, it's over $50,000, we have to either bid it out or use the state contracting price or its cooperative contract price. So to help vendors out, if you all can join a cooperative contract and offer your services at discounted prices and get signed up for that cooperative contract or get on the state contract, our departments will look for you or look for your name. And what they do is they go down because each company offers a different percentage off, or they might offer the same. In the state of South Carolina, they'll do for office products, you probably know this, is they'll award the whole contract for office furniture for pond and steel case furniture to MSI, Herald Office. There'll be a ton of, but that's okay because it makes it competitive. And what our partners do is they'll get with us and say they're going to buy 10 office desks they have 10 new, they'll go out and they'll select the best price as long as they'll stay contractor price. And they also look at the scheduling. Herald Office might not offer the same, they offer the same price, but they might not be able to meet the delivery schedule that MSI can. So they look at all the number of things. Yeah. But my story to you is, if you all state contract, use it. We do look at those pricing. We do look at non-state contract because sometimes we can beat state contract if we go out and bid it out, or if we just go around and get price quotes.
Yeah, and there's GPOs.
And if you're a small company, you might be interested in the stuff under 100,000 or under 50,000. So give us quotes and sign up for OpenGov or sign up for Beaufort County as a vendor. Get to know the different department managers so they get to know you because people do business with who they know.
Yeah, and I guess that goes back to my first question. How do we get a listing of what those different firms are?
I'll just go through us. We can tell you. We can give you an organizational chart.
Then there you go.
Yeah,
About it.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for that.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
have any other questions? Yes, sir.
Does local businesses have any precedence on,
Preference?
yeah?
Yeah, Dave or Victoria?
Yes, there is a local preference. We still have it. If you put in a bid, in the bid packet, you have to claim to be a local vendor where you have to own a business in the county and you have to give us a price and you're able to match the lowest bid on a bid. Now, RFP is different. We don't do the local preference on that. But for normal bids, if you're a local vendor and you can claim, fill out the local preference sheet and say you'll offer local preference, you would like the local preference. If you can match or you're within this, I think I can't remember right off the top of my head, I think it's 10% or of the actual lowest bid. Victoria, go ahead. This time.
5%.
5%, you're able to match the price, and the other vendors aren't local, we can award the project to you.
Yeah,
But it's got to be on a bid. It can't be on RFP.
no, I understand.
Yeah.
Some time ago, there's been a question with your interpretation of how that was written. The matching of the lowest bid versus 5% over, that's the lowest bid. But that's not for discussion here and now.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Just got here, but for like new businesses competing, like my question is, how can someone go visit a business? I'm saying it. How can a new business compete with companies that already have past performance? You know,
Sydney Golf.
Well, let me start to answer this question, and I'll have a big for Dave hop in. But when it's in the case of an invitation for bid, that to me seems like the most basic way that could happen. Is if your price is lower and you meet all the qualifications we're asking for, then it's pretty much a done deal. We're doing a responsibility and then responsibility check, of course. But as I mentioned, if you're giving us what we asked for, and you have the proper, say, licensure, things of that nature, then it's pretty cut and dry. When it comes to a proposal or request for qualifications, I don't know what types of services you provide. That can be a little bit trickier because it depends on the way that the solicitation is written. If the evaluation criteria does state that we're looking for past experience, that may hold some weight, and that will be outlined, say 20%, that's just an example. But that's how that would be compared. Dave or Victoria, do you have anything to add based off of that?
I think that was a pretty good explanation. Yeah, you know, when it comes to request for the proposals, past performance is going to be one of your evaluation criteria. But I wouldn't tell you to not go ahead and submit, because you may outrank in the other 5 evaluation criteria listed. You know, you may score really high in those and just get dinged on your past performance and still make it into the short list, and then that'll bring you into the second round of scoring, which is the in person, not in person necessarily. We do Teams meetings, interview process for the second round of scoring. So
Thank you for that. Do you have any other questions, Dan?
thank you. So this is seeing like the fixed price and cost reimbursement, and which is better for beginners.
Cool. That's probably, I don't know if that's something we can help with so much. Do you want to speak on that?
Basically lump sum, or, you know, on our bids are basically lump sum. And so, you know, the proposals we want, so when a request for proposal for something, you know, you're going to have to line item things out, but it's all basically, you know, a lump sum price at the end of the day. So we're not into the federal, you know, federal and the state. That was what I led off with. And when we started the meeting was, you know, we're not that difficult. We're pretty easy to work with.
Good question. Yes, ma'am.
So, we sign in.
Yes.
Does that mean that, every, dog that comes open is sent over email?
If you get set up with OpenGov and you're in the system and you have identified yourself, you should be receiving emails based on if they are something that you provide. Yeah, I have that fully correct.
If you're a commodity, say if it's janitorial or office products, you put the right number in there and or you recognize it, it will automatically, if there's a solicitation we have out there, it will send you a notice.
Yeah. So I would say you probably would want to check it every so often and see if there is anything that interests you, because of course, maybe there's a keyword in there that was missed. But also, like I mentioned before, like SCIBO or that's the South Carolina Business Opportunities for anybody who might not use that. Or the local news would also be another way to look. And then you could check on OpenGov to read everything.
The good thing about OpenGov, it's a win-win for both us and the vendors, because it gives you free advertising. So once you sign up, you know, they counties and cities will see to draw on there if you got the right commodity on there.
Yeah.
So it's a win.
Thank you for the question. Did you have another question to that? Yes, ma'am.
Are there any like tools or test contract that basically can see that contracts were previously worked for to kind of get an idea or advise them to pay? So then,
I don't think anything like that
We don't have it
exists.
set up like that yet, but if you have something you can put in the FOIA, we can say,
and it's not a good idea. One thing, with me doing this and being on the other side of the fence, as a vendor and helping businesses, contractors, federal, state, local government, it's a good idea, to know what a good cost for your service or product is. But it's, you're kind of looked down on if you want to get the incumbent contract price, what the person that their contract's ending, what they pay just so you can come up with your price. We want you to give us your price, your best price, of course, but we want you to come up with your own price. We don't want you to try and low dog it because, times change. There's inflation. There's all kinds of factors, and we have locked a person into maybe a 5-year contract at a price. So, it wouldn't be a good idea for you guys to want to copy that price just so you could lowball, because you can't raise it. Once we lock you in, we lock you in. So you want to come up with your own pricing that you feel is fair and reasonable for you, will be fair and reasonable for us.
Okay, so large business versus small business. Again, we want a price. The larger business public can give us a less price than a small person that is in business. So
It's not always.
okay, I'm glad that's because most of the time, the larger business only get the bid because their prices are lower than a smaller business. So
Right. But if you're local, then, we may sway it that way. But, as far as bid goes, it is, of course, most lowest, most responsible bidder. But there are, if you're local, there's the local vendor preference that we have built into the bids. And also, if it is a smaller bid, the big dogs aren't going to bid on it. We've had, in the past 2 years, we've had small break projects that weren't bid on because, the APAC and the Blythe and those people, they're like, we don't have time for that. That's only $200,000 job, $300,000 job. We don't have time for it. So that's why it's important that we have you guys, because you guys could come in and you could go, we could get this done, and you can subcontract people to help cover the areas that you can't cover, and that's another thing about subcontracting was the other thing of it. If you see something that's out there that your business can't do yourself, but you can offer part of what's in the project, you can go into who's following that and look at those prime contractors that are interested, and you can market to them because their contact information is there. So this gives you an opportunity not only to bid on things yourself, but also to look for subcontracting opportunities.
Thank you. I think another good thing to point out is on OpenGov right now, once you get registered, so you take a look around, we do have an on-call contract that she previously mentioned for services under 100,000. And that is kind of built with some of these smaller vendors in mind. We do have specific services and products that we're requesting, so you'd have to read that and make sure that that fits what you provide. But that would be a good way probably to get your foot in the door or to get some business, because it's a 3-year contract. As long as it's under $100,000, then that could be a way for you to build your business. We would love to have that. We're always trying to build that.
It's not under $100,000 for 3 years of providing something. This contract's a 3-year, but what we do is we issue tasks under that base contract, that main contract. So it means we've got this little job that needs to be done. So we'll contact you and we'll get a quote for that. If we deem it to be, a fair and reasonable price for us, then what they'll do is they'll have my department or departments issue you a task order, and then that'll get you started for that work. It's each task has to be under $100,000. You can't. Also, here's another thing that I even have to tell my department: you can't bid it to be $99,000 and then expect to change order it. Okay, because it can't go over $100,000. So keep that in mind. Don't bid it at 99 if you know it's going to be over 100. Have a conversation with who approached you, the department that approached you, and say, hey, I think you guys need to probably go a different route because I don't know of anybody that is going to be able to do this for under 100,000. So communication's key.
Thank you.
Yes, Deb.
You have anything else?
I do. I have
Yes,
really questions.
Yes, go for it.
I'll wait till you're by 10.
No, it's okay. I just called her and she was ready.
It comes to compliance and avoiding mistakes, right? What are the most common compliance issues that disqualify bidders?
People not reading the solicitation.
Yeah.
Missing documentation. Not responsive. Yeah, they don't give us what we're asking for, and they're missing especially in a bid. Fortunately, OpenGov is pretty good. It's a lot better than our old system because OpenGov, you don't have an upload for a specific document, then it's going to stop you and you're not going to be able to go any further until you have that document to upload. So it keeps pretty compliant.
Yes. Right. On the next question, what should any of us have in place by next year before you can take them on a contract?
You should be able to be bonded, have the capacity to be bonded for, if you feel that you're going to be able to perform a $300,000 contract, if it's a construction type project, we're going to expect you to be able to be bonded for that or more. Okay. So that's just really important.
Can you take anything else?
Insurance, yeah, you have to have insurance. I said that earlier. We need your company insured.
So if someone was starting today with no experience, I'm just not going to need too much. What exact steps should a person take within the 30 to 60 days to win their first contract?
Well, I guess
When I'm first contracted,
it really just depends on the volume, the dollar amount. So if it was a small purchase, I'd probably say you want to maybe get familiar with the thresholds that we have because anything that is under $50,000 isn't going to be a formal solicitation. So there's not quite as many steps, and that could maybe be done with, say, obtaining 3 quotes, and that's a little bit faster. Or if it's something under $5,000, that could even be done with a procurement card. Or a small purchase. We don't get quite as involved in those ones. So it really does depend.
We can't give you one answer, because there's so many different kind of contracts. I mean, we have medical services for the detention center. We have to feed the inmates too. So that's going to be way different than us needing somebody to go paint one of our buildings. So there's no set procedure. But the first people you're going to talk to, 9 times, unless you're providing just a quote, it's going to be us. Yeah. So we're your answer people.
Yes.
Well, I might help you out because I always look at it this way. We're spending taxpayers' dollars, right? We're all for sharing the wealth, working with the local community, getting our local areas for business. But think about it. We got professional department heads that they look at the price quotes that come in. They want quality products. They want good customer service. They want experience. You got to get that. Somebody got to get experience and show that you've done business in Beaufort County. So that's what they look at. things under $50,000 is basically competed on the price that you meet the scope. Like we need fencing at this facility here. We want to make sure you are offering the right kind of brand and that it meets the specifications. But we're also looking at that price and that delivery schedule. So that kind of comes into play under those three quotes. Now it's over $50,000. That's a little different, and if it runs into a bid, it's still the lowest responsible quote. But we're also making sure that you're a responsible company, i.e. you have the financial means to do the job, you have the experience.
If you can provide experience even with, say you do residential or, other companies that we also view as experience. We don't specifically always look for experience with us because you can't get experience. You have to get experience in order to have experience.
Another example is like, if you have a maintenance mechanic that works on your car, they do a really good job. How are you going to get them to change? If you're a new vendor, how are you going to get that person to change to the new mechanic? So that's what you kind of got to look at. How can I sell that department head or then the county to do business with me? Just think about that.
And you had a question?
How long does your past performance still back?
Depends on, if it's
If it's a large project,
A large-
5 years.
typically 5 years, yeah. But it's
Stated in the
we're talking
solicitation.
hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, for like a request for proposal. Typically, we're gonna look at 5 years. But as I said earlier, if you don't have 5 years experience, we don't want you to not submit because, like I said, you could excel in the other evaluation criteria that's within that solicitation. So, you might get dinged on not having enough experience, but you could excel in the others and still possibly make it into, the second route.
Unless the solicitation says you must have 5 years.
Right.
If you don't have 5 years, you don't put up the bid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on the way that it's written. That's a good question. Thank you.
So if I will go into open government, would I see a place for city and county?
No, just us. But I believe there is a way to go out, which, of course, we see a different system than you do.
Usually starting with their website, such as, let's say, Charleston County. If you went to Charleston County and found their procurement site, or maybe called and asked somebody to show you where it is, they should have their information. OpenGov is just one system that we use. There are many others like it, but this was the one that already needs the best.
Right. There's other counties in South Carolina that do use OpenGov. But this is, we contract with them, believe it or not. They're one of our vendors because they provide us, with software to do this.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions? I think y'all are asking some great questions.
Absolutely. Well, you go ahead and get started with anybody if they want to sign up.
If anybody would like to go ahead and get registered in OpenGov today, we have brought a couple of laptops for you. We can stand here and walk you through it. Be happy to allow you to do that. That's why we brought the computers. So just hang out. We have 2 of them. Like I said, we can get you started.
Otherwise, thank you guys so much for your time today, and definitely reach out if you guys have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.